Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your host, Niko House. And I urge you all to join our One Follow $1 campaign on Patreon. You can click on the link below. It is really needed more now than ever. We are being censored, people, and there's no other way around it. I mean, aggressively. They're not even passively censoring us anymore. As you know, on Twitter, it's been just everybody's tweets who's anti-establishment narrative, we're all marked as sensitive. So people can't even see it. People are being forced to unfollow us. On YouTube, people are being forced to unsubscribe to us, having their notification bells turned off. On Facebook, I'm currently blocked from even sharing a post. I'm currently blocked from talking on another post in any group. That's blatant censorship, and they're trying to choke us out of the market. So please, help support us, help us grow, and ensure that your favorite independent journalists will have the means to survive as we endure this battle against McCarthyism and corruption. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell as well, and check out the articles that I wrote on Medium. I post those in the description below. One is talking about Bernie and the Russiagate conversation and rhetoric that he's been using, and also discussing why he may still be the viable, and another article discussing why he still may be the most viable option for 2020. I also talk about JFK, which is another article that I urge you all to read. Not JFK, excuse me, Joe Kennedy, and his pandering, his disgusting level of pandering during the State of the Union address. So, the memo came out, right? Unfortunately, for a lot of us, it's exactly what we expected, right? It's exactly what we expected. No one's really surprised. But here's what's a little surprising to many people who were accusing Trump of lying. Trump was right. Trump said that the Obama administration was spying on him. And for me, a lot of people thought it was like paranoia, like you're just coming up with excuses. But that's a really weird thing to claim, right? You have to have, why would you even suggest that at such a weird point in the election unless there was some truth to it? Well, it turned out that Carter was being investigated, or excuse me, was being spied upon. It turns out that the memo verifies that. It turns out that's what the application was for, and the dossier was used to push that application through. So essentially, yeah, the Trump campaign was being spied on, and Trump was right. My guess is that he was not allowed to discuss whether it was like the specifics of it, because as you can see in the memo, this stuff was classified and was considered top secret. So he couldn't say how he knew, because at this point he was the president-elect, not the president. But I mean, the reason I want to talk about this is because this is another example of why we should be approaching every single claim, instance, political move, etc. We should be approaching these things objectively. Because many people just thought that Donald Trump was losing his mind, that he was just trying to find an excuse or create a distraction from the Russiagate scandal, when that was clearly not the case. He was actually being truthful. And the worst part is, we were so dismissive, not we, but many of you, not everybody, but many of the neoliberal side and even some of the progressive side. They were saying that it's insane to even think that he could be honest, and that he was legitimately being spied on. And now, because we did not catch what was going on in the act, and we didn't shine a huge light on it, because there was really at the time not enough proof to, but we didn't even really confront it in a substantive way like we have been recently. We didn't even give any credence to it after a couple of days. And Obama was allowed to do it. They were allowed to push an application through based off of literally nothing but political agenda and political affiliations and political targeting off of a political super PAC that was bought off by a political organization. And we did not, no pun intended, get the memo. So Trump was right. Not always right, but he was right. Even a broke clock can be right twice a day. And I think that that's something that we need to really understand, and we need to put into practice, the left and the right. Simply because somebody that you do not like claims something to be true or to be untrue doesn't mean that you should automatically take the opposing stance, people. It means that we should do our research. It means that you should have an open mind and assume that you were wrong when addressing these type of situations. Assume that you were wrong, because that's the best way to maintain objectivity. Assume that you are not correct when analyzing someone else's claim, especially in politics, because even though you may be right, once you automatically assume you're right, you're looking for reasons to prove yourself right, and it could cloud your judgment. It could cloud your perception. But if you're assuming yourself as wrong, you're looking for reasons to prove that you are right, which you're going to end up ultimately being more sound logic. It's going to be more sound logic, better reasoning, but more so you're going to look for a lot more facts and surrounding and corroborating evidence versus just saying, I'm right. Like people right now, like that are propagating the Russiagate narrative. They're saying, I'm right, and trying to look for reasons after they're asked, okay, so how? Where's the proof? And then they start coming up with rattling a bunch of nonsense off their brain about how he knows Russian oligarchs. Once again, he's a billionaire. So yeah, I expect that. So, but not thinking about the fact that they could be wrong, and there's a lot more evidence to support that. And if you're thinking, if you go into the Russiagate narrative assuming that that is right, you can easily find some type of rationale with what's provided to say that you might be right. But that's not how you approach something like that. You're going to say somebody that is committing treason. It's probably best to have more than a little corroborating evidence, which they don't have right now. But if anybody who was propagating that narrative did any objective or critical thinking of their own logic, then they would easily see that there's a lot of plot holes there. A lot of plot holes. So I'm glad this information came out. The application was used to spy on Donald Trump's campaign. It's a no-no. That's a no-go. Based off of conflict of interest upon conflict of interest on top of conflict of interest on top of conflict of interest. No. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Leave your thoughts in your comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance. Peace.